Welcome to World Wood Day 2022 collaborative project, GeoVillage. Today we have invited the design team members to tell us all about this project. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. So, Killian, let's start with you. Could you tell us about the collaborative projects in the past World Days and what we are doing this year?
Of course. So traditionally, World Wood Day is an in-person event. We travel to a different country each year, and there's various different projects going on. People come up and there's carving demonstrations. There's musical instruments from around the world, and what we've all been involved in is a collaboration project. So the idea behind it is that about 20 makers from around the world, wood turners and carvers, furniture makers like myself, we come together and spend 2 days designing some kind of sculptural installation. The basic starting point is we have a theme, the theme of that year's World Wood Day, but we come and it's all done, none of us pre-prepared, it's all done over those 2 days. It's fairly intensive kind of process, especially for the people who've never been part of this before. It's very difficult because most of us all work alone in our daily practice. So to be in a room with 20 people and not have autonomy over your decisions, or to have to be respectful and think of other people in what you're saying and doing. So it can be a really intense 48 hours, but what comes out of it is a kind of very clear starting point. And over the next 10 days, we spend all that time building this installation that we've designed. Generally, they're fairly large structures. In Turkey in 2015, we built quite a large bridge, large enough for people to walk underneath. It all evolves from the room on the day and the people that are in it and the ideas that come out of it. So it's a very fluid process and it's a very unique scenario to be in. I'm lucky because I've been both sides of the project. I've been a member of the team making the project, but I've also been part of the leadership team. So I've run these projects as well. So I've quite a good insight into how they work and the kind of good parts and the bad parts of them.
I think one of the most important thing about collaborative projects is that people get together and we work together. But then the past 2 years, because the pandemic, World Wood Day has been doing this virtual event, but we still want to do a collaborative project, and that's where we are here now.
Absolutely. I think, there's two sides. We always produce something interesting, something significant, but the more interesting part of the whole process for me is the taking part and the participants and what they get out of sharing that experience, learning from each other, kind of giving of themselves as an individual for the collective idea. And when COVID hit and World Wood Day became a virtual event, Anise contacted me first with the idea of maybe doing some kind of collaboration project online. And we started discussing how that might come about. And we got Jamila and Momo involved, yourselves, and John Vandercock from Australia, another veteran of the projects. And we developed the GeoTree project last year as a way of reaching out, because at that point we were still in lockdown or very much restricted in our movements, and we certainly couldn't travel internationally. And we kind of hope to engender some of that experience we'd had and share it to a wider community through the GeoTree project, which was an interesting project. We learned a lot from doing it. It was minorly successful, I think, if I'm being honest. But that idea that we have an individual form as a starting point that unifies everyone, then they put their individuality onto it by making intervention on that form, was a really interesting idea. And it worked because you have this series of images that are the same, but they're all different and all speak to the person who did them. So it was that we came back this year, had a discussion before Christmas, and did we want to do it again, and how could we improve it, or what did we take from last year? So we made some learnings from that previous iteration, and what came out of it was the GeoVillage project this year.
Great. And Anise, can you tell us about the design of GeoVillage this year and what GeoVillage means?
This year we ended up following the last year's project also, the idea of having one item that we design a basic shape of, and people would do it in their own way, with their own understanding, their own interpretations, and add to it. So the same project, same concept that worked with us last year, we repeated it. And we even use the same basic forms, which are cube and a prism. So we flipped the tree to become a house. Yeah, that was the tree, and then yeah. So basically, it's very similar to last year's, but of course, with these projects, every person interprets them differently, and the diversity of results that we see, the diversity of designs and even materials and styles, and is amazing, and we expect to see more this year also.
Great. Could you also share a little bit more about why did we choose the symbol of a house to be the theme this year, and what's the extension from the house to the GeoVillage concept?
The symbol of the house, the very simple symbol, which is a square and a triangle, is very international. It's many people like. It's very common to see. It's been used everywhere. Even children, that's how they draw houses. So the forms themselves are there in that reproduction. So we liked it. We liked house. We liked house also what it means, home, and spending this time in lockdown, most of us, a lot of us, and our relations to our houses. How it changed, how we understand our houses differently, and how we can express these things. That's how the concept of the house happened. And when we put one house next to the other, we get a village. We have a bunch of houses from everywhere. They all gather to become one artwork, which is the GeoVillage that we are hoping to see this year.
If I might jump in and add to what Anis is saying, because I looked back over our meeting notes in preparation for this conversation, and it was very early. It's only our third meeting, like up from when we started before Christmas up until World Wood Day, we had 10, 12 meetings. So it was our third meeting. And we were discussing ideas, and Jamila introduced the idea of a tree house or tree houses. And that became very exciting because we started thinking about all the different types of. So there's a traditional children's tree house where kids play, but also there's like birds live in trees and squirrels and animals and insects, and that there was this huge variation within it. And it was from that Anis started discussing how growing up in Jordan when he was a kid, drawing pictures, he drew a house as a triangle on a square, even though that didn't really represent the building he lived in. And we all discussed how Momo in Taiwan and Jamila in Argentina and myself in Ireland drew exactly the same thing. And it was kind of the lightning rod moment for the whole project, that this kind of archetype, this icon, this ideal of a house that we all drew as kids that didn't, like some of us lived in apartment blocks, or so it wasn't a true representation, but it meant house, it meant home to all of us. And then, as Anis said, that reflection then through us having spent so much time at home in lockdown through COVID, it was a very neat and obvious fit for the project.
I think the idea is so strong that it's more important than the shape. I mean, the shape is a consequence of this idea of house, this universal type that everybody draw when is a kid. I mean, it's more important what it means than the shape we give them.
I think one good thing about doing this project online is that, everybody from any part of the world, they can join us. And when you build a house like that in your hometown, or where you are, like Anis just said, we connect these dots around the world, and we kind of build a village together, literally and virtually, which is, I think it's a pretty cool idea. Yeah. If you do go to our website, there are actually some GeoVillage artwork samples, and Shamila, I know that several of them are your creations. Could you share with us your design ideas, and also tell the audience how they can participate?
Yeah, sure. We have this idea of house, this like universal idea. We have this one like a starting point, and we have this one is the first one. It's like we twist like into a chia tree, and then I was starting to think how many houses you can do in different shapes. in different techniques. So we start with a simple one, where is here. This is like a good piece of wood. I mean, we can give this different kind of shapes or types of wood in the cut. And then we have this one with a little rock on it. It's like the little house we draw here. We don't have this kind of houses in Argentina, but we draw it when we are kids. Then I start to thinking we can cook, we can paint, and we should be carving one. It's not good to show in camera, but it will have a carving shape on it. And then I start to thinking we can do with different materials. I mean, we don't have to make the house in wood, all the house in wood, but we can use another materials and a little pieces of wood. So I started thinking about how we draw the house, and I make this little pencil house. Then another construction with the same pencils. You can do it with whatever you want. We have more similar house than we have here. And then we have this one is a bird house.
Nice.
Like
very
different with the light. So everybody can participate and make the house they want, the house they are thinking in, or the house they live in it. The important thing is only one piece of this house will be in wood. It could be inside the house, it could be part of the house, outside the house. But the important thing is they share it with us on Instagram, and we are going to post it on the Instagram of GeoVillage.
Right. I think those several examples that you just showed us really kind of tell everybody, like, you can use any techniques. It could be very simple. It could be any ideas extension from the shape, and it's welcome. It's part of the GeoVillage. And also in the background of you guys, you can see some GeoVillage samples you have done, like the Anis, you have the painted one in the back.
Yeah.
And Killian, you have that. I would say that's like a blueprint of our foundation.
Wireframe house. It was the first one we did very early on during our conversations.
Yeah.
So, it was the beginnings.
Yeah. Shamila, could you just show us a little bit of your house over there?
Yeah, this one is more complex. It's like a toy. You can open it. You can see that.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so cool.
You can close that, and you can make just like that, and on the other side.
Wow.
And it has a little door.
I love that. It's making a little
nice
sound.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Oh.
So when I think in the house, I was thinking in a like kind of doll house. It's like we are playing. We play with it.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing. It's not really about how your design is or how your techniques are, or like what kind of images you create there. The most important thing is starting from our design and have fun with it, and try to connect yourself with your childhood image of house and build a village with everybody else. Great, thank you all very much for coming here today, and we really look forward to anyone from the world joining us and create a GeoVillage with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.